So welcome everyone, Municipal Campaign School. I am joined today by Alyssa Humphrey from the Social Factory to talk about all things social media related. Before we get started, I would like to do a land acknowledgement. While we are meeting virtually in Oxford County, we have Municipal Campaign School partners and students across Southwestern Ontario. As you begin your journey into politics, we invite you to consider how all levels of government and their elected leaders can tackle the 94 calls to action found in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improve our understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. We acknowledge that there were peoples, cultures, and traditions on all these lands long before we were. We acknowledge the traditional territories of the Neutral, the Adawanda-Run, the Haudenosaunee, the Lenape-Awak, the Algonquin, the Lenni-Lenape, the Ojibwe, and the Chippewa peoples. So Alyssa, thank you so much for joining us today. Alyssa is a brand developer and digital media marketer located here in Woodstock with 9 years of professional social media management, brand development, and web design experience. And before we begin the conversation, we were so lucky when Alyssa offered to design a logo for Municipal Campaign School merchandise, which I am wearing, which is support her, elect her, and be her. So Alyssa, where should we start today? Tell us a bit more about your business and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So that little bio pretty well sums it up. I've been doing the Social Factory full time for 3 years now. Prior to that, I was working at a tech firm in Waterloo, doing product management and development and managing communities and responsible for community growth. It was kind of always my dream to take my business full time, and the opportunity arose in the fall of 2019 to do so. So that's kind of given me the opportunity to work with a lot of these small businesses within our community. And, having been born and raised in Oxford County, it's definitely a community that I'm really passionate about, and just being able to help turn some of these, small business dreams and visions into reality has been super rewarding.
Yeah, and I can attest that you are monumental in this community. I have a business here in Woodstock, and Alyssa has helped us in many different aspects, but certainly through COVID, you have been a champion to help small businesses pivot online and to continue to, build their customer base, build their attention to their products and their uniqueness. And I think I speak for a lot of small businesses when I say you're such an asset. And, last night before I was going to bed and thinking about our conversation, I thought how for the students following us and watching this, how could a small business be compared to, say, a candidate or a campaign? And I thought, maybe we can just talk about how the comparison is that you really want to grow your audience. You really want to be clear of your messaging, again, for business, clear of what you're selling. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about, if someone was running for office, where could they begin in terms of social media platforms? Like, what are the basics and all of those kind of things?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there are a few different things to keep in mind and to consider. One of those being that people support people. So whether you are a business or you are your own personal brand, that's something to be really important and mindful of. So for example, having that ability to connect with your target audience and your target market and the demographics that you're really hoping to serve, there are a lot of those kind of linear aspects between being a small business owner and being a representative. So, really understanding who it is you're trying to reach and connect with, as well as the problems that you are trying to provide solutions to. Something like that might build up part of your campaign, Whereas if you're a small business, that's kind of your service offering or where you might turn to when you're thinking about the different products that you want to offer. So there is actually a lot of linear kind of connection between the two of those. Going back to the idea of people supporting people, you are your brand, you are your biggest asset. People want to know the person behind the images. Getting out there on social media is a really great way to introduce yourself and connect with people on that kind of, even playing field where they have the opportunity to learn more about you, what you offer, and even just more about, what you do in your free time, how that resonates with them. It makes you more relatable and authentic when people can connect with you on that level. So when you think about kind of where to begin on social media, I always kind of tell clients to think about how the person receiving the content is going to be perceiving things like your messaging, the caption that's associated with it. What value is the post that you're making bringing to the viewer? So if you're looking at Instagram, for example, I think it's a really great place to start with an introductory post. Posting, a picture of you or a picture of you and your family, if you're interested in kind of taking that aspect. Lindsay has done a really great job kind of at integrating all facets of her life into her campaign. And I think that is what really resonates with people. They don't really want to see the really overproduced content. They want to know that the person that they're supporting is real. So, producing that first piece of content as an introductory post, tell people who you are, what you enjoy doing, and what you hope to achieve by running as a candidate in your municipal election.
That's amazing. I love all of that. And I think knowing you personally, you're always really inspiring people to be authentic, right? I mean, I think as nerve-wracking as it can be, being relatable and authentic, you have nothing to hide and you're very clear with your messaging. And I do think it's very beneficial. So I couldn't agree more with everything that you just said. And in terms of, would you suggest, Instagram or Facebook or Twitter sort of first, or all of them, or just, again, if someone was hesitant, what would be the number one spot that you'd say at the very least start at this platform and maybe build your comfortability from there?
For sure. So I think that it's really important to have a presence on Facebook and Instagram, depending on who it is that you're trying to reach. So really think about, your target audience, think about the demographic of those people. We tend to see a bit of an older demographic on Facebook and a younger demographic, the millennials on Instagram. So depending on who it is that you're trying to connect with, that's where I would spend the majority of my time personally. The nice thing about Instagram is that there is that toggle on feature so that if you have posted something to Instagram, it can automatically post to a Facebook page. So you're kind of hitting both of those demographics without having to take that extra step, excuse me, and, really invest that extra time to, spend on both of those platforms. So I would really suggest, taking a minute to understand who it is you're trying to serve and reach and where it is that they are spending their time online. So again, we tend to see an older demographic on Facebook and we tend to see a younger demographic on Instagram.
Yeah, and it's great to have variety too, because I think we hope to always get more people out to vote, and we hope to always get more community members engaged, all levels of ages and everything in between. And so Alyssa, to that point, in terms of content, in that first post, say pictures, would you suggest maybe around your community, connect with the photographer? Or I think we could sit on here for hours with suggestions of flat lays and doing your own filters and things like that. But would that be a great way to start, is just connecting with a photographer to get headshots or family photos or any photos that it's the candidate and what they're inspired by?
Absolutely. So I think a really great opportunity is to collaborate with other people within your community, whether that is someone who's willing to donate some time to your campaign and have them capture you out and about within the community at some of your favorite small businesses, spending time with your family. You really want them to be able to capture the essence of you. And I think that those kinds of images tend to speak more to people than your standard headshot. Now, of course, there's a time and a place for a headshot. So having one is, of course, a positive thing. But I think when it comes to what's resonating with people, it's, even subconsciously making that connection. Oh, this person is out at this business and I really love this business too. That's great that they're a supporter of small business. Maybe this is something that they're going to be, focusing on in their campaign. This person has young children, so maybe childcare is at the top of their mind. Really making those connections between, who you are as a person and what you're passionate about through your candidacy, I think is, what we're really trying to communicate by having access to a gallery of images that you can use throughout your social media.
That's great. And to go along kind of parallel to social media, we also wanted to chat with you just about a bit of, the web design that you are used to. Obviously, you've designed a lot of logos here across Oxford. And I didn't know if there was kind of an easy introduction to building your own website, or, if you had a couple sites in mind that are pretty simple, again, for anybody to go on, scroll through. We're obviously going to include Alyssa's information should anybody want to reach out for more help with that. But yeah, just for people that come to you in the business realm that say, okay, I don't know where to get started. Did you have a platform for a website that is easy to use and easy to navigate around?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are two that I recommend to a lot of clients. I personally prefer Squarespace over Wix, which is the other kind of do-it-yourself platform. So both of them are really kind of modular, drag and drop type of platforms, which really makes it easy for a user who maybe isn't super tech savvy or at least not familiar with the website design aspect. It really makes it easy for them to, develop their own kind of design, integrate their personality. There are a lot of free templates available where you simply swap out the stock information or the filler content with your own content and then click publish. It's super, super easy. So again, that's Squarespace, which is my preferred. And then there's Wix, which is another kind of do-it-yourself option. They both have pretty low monthly pricing, or you can pay annually. A month to month might make sense for more people if it's not something that you necessarily need or want to maintain longer term. If it is, annually always saves you a little bit of money. And it's just a really great opportunity to kind of link your socials and have that go-to spot for people to connect with you and see what you're all about. I think that it's also really important for things like Instagram to keep in mind that link space is really limited. So having a designated link that points people to learn more is a really great opportunity for platforms like Instagram, where maybe you don't have the opportunity to be throwing a link in every single post. So that's definitely something that I would suggest looking into. And it doesn't need to be extensive. It can simply even be a homepage with a contact form, a little bit of verbiage about you, how people can get involved if that's something that they're interested in, and of course, some of the key messaging that you really want to convey to people when they're trying to make decisions this election season.
That's great. And I always appreciate when you have to think of less is more sometimes, right? We don't want students to be stressed out to trying to build an online presence. We want to be accessible. We want to basically connect all platforms as much as we can, and then just give an outlet so that they can connect with you to ask further questions or to sit down for a coffee and things like that. So I love that idea of just keep it simple, right?
Yeah.
Minimal stress, keep that, a lot of the energy needs to be at the door and all of those kind of things. But yeah, I mean, we live in such a technology-based time that I think it should be encouraged to be online now. I think whether it's Oxford or other areas, sometimes municipally, there isn't that access to the candidate online. And I think we're going to see more of that shifting, certainly this election and into the future. With us
Absolutely.
being in the same city right now, but being on Zoom, it's convenient, and we definitely hope that that can be another step to success for the students or for the candidates that will be running this fall.
Absolutely. And I think, when we're thinking about things like creating content or really trying to take some of that stress off of the candidates, there are free platforms like Canva, for example, which really allow for people to kind of create these professional looking graphics without having to have a drop of design experience. So canva.com is, again, it's free unless you want to pay for the pro version. It has hundreds, if not thousands, of templates for Instagram, Facebook, Instagram stories, and you simply can select the template that you want, switch out the colors, switch out the text for your own, add in your own image, and then download it and post it to the social platform of your choosing. So I think that that's really a great tool to be utilizing if it's something that you're interested in learning a little bit more about and really trying to integrate some of those graphic elements into your feed. So I would definitely recommend that. And then I was thinking we could also chat a little bit about growing that following online. So I think, there are a couple of different ways to do that. Of course, being part of different community groups on Facebook is a really great opportunity. Now, there's, of course, a fine line between pushing and pulling. So I like to encourage people to go for the more pull marketing tactic, which is essentially drawing people towards you, as opposed to pushing, which is, really being in your face, promote. It is more salesy that way, whereas the pull method is a little bit more gentle and kind of draws people towards you because they resonate with you. You don't have to be pushing your Facebook page in all of these groups, but being involved in some of the concerns of the community and interacting with, constituents, I think is really important, and showing that you are accessible even now to answer those kinds of questions and that kind of thing. For something like Instagram, I think that, engaging is really important. Just, again, going out and, finding new content to follow, commenting on some of those things. If it's something to do with, small businesses, if small business is something that you're really passionate about as part of your candidacy, interacting with those small businesses, sharing their new posts to your stories, and encouraging other people to learn more about them. I think that, even collaborating, like we talked about a little bit before, is really important. Having the ability to kind of, maybe I'll do a post promoting this person, and in return, they'll give me a little bit of a shout out, or maybe they'll lend me some time to actually go and get some pictures for my feed, that kind of thing. That back and forth kind of relationship, I think, is really important and a really kind of easy way to grow that following on those social platforms.
That's great. Yeah, sharing is caring, right? And being able to just build things that you love, and when you love something in any case, it feels so natural, right? So it's really nice. It's really great in Oxford specifically that you have a lot of those groups working together, and through the pandemic and all of those kind of things. And even for municipal campaign school, we've connected with people in Grey Bruce, we've connected with people in Northern Ontario, London, Middlesex, all trying to create these outlets and to send out the message that we're here to support you, and we want you to win, right? So I really like that piece of just even becoming more interactive in the social media world as you would, your local market or your local stores and things like that. So
Exactly.
now I don't know if we have a lot of time to talk about it today, but there is information that anyone could reach out to you too to get a better understanding of. I found Instagram has a lot of good feedback where you can kind of on the back end find out, who your targeted audience is, what days of the week are best to post, and all of these tools of which I've learned from you. But I didn't know if we could just talk a little bit about, again, some of those insights, that they can be useful. And my second question to that would be, do you think it's necessary for candidates to consider paying for social media ads? And just kind of those things I'd love to get your take on.
Yeah, absolutely. So when thinking about the insights, like you mentioned, Instagram is really great for receiving that kind of content. So if you are on your phone, your mobile device, and you are interested in finding more about the people that are following you and when is the best time to be posting, you can actually do that right from your device on your profile. So right kind of above your feed, there is a little Insights Analytics button that you can click on, and it provides you with a ton of information. It tells you, if you are catering more predominantly or attracting more men versus women, the specific age ranges that are kind of gravitating towards your content. And like Kate said, it also tells you actually the days of the weeks and the time of day that the majority of your following is online. So that's really helpful feedback to be paying attention to, because of course you want to reach as many people as possible. So posting around those peak times is a really great way to kind of get the most bang for your buck that way. The nice thing about Instagram as well is we also have access to the different stickers on stories. So asking question, having the question box on your Instagram story where people can submit questions about your campaign or, the different things that are important to you and what you hope to represent through your campaign. Polls, there are many different tools kind of at our disposal through the Instagram stories and their stickers features. So that's kind of a really great opportunity to get that feedback that we are kind of talking about. And find out what's important to, the constituents. In addition to that, talking about whether or not it makes sense to pay for ads. If you are promoting a specific event or a specific, date or workshop or that kind of thing, I think that it can make sense to pay for ads. I think that it also kind of depends on how much time you have to kind of invest into the organic work of building that platform. So if you have the time to really, put in the legwork, do the engagement, be posting really consistently to your platform, I don't think that there's a big need for paying for ads. The nice thing about social media is it really has evened the playing field for a lot of small businesses and people who are representing themselves as brands. And I think that, it is a free platform that everyone has access to. And why spend all of the money paying for advertising if you don't have to? With that being said, if you don't have the time to commit to it, get a couple really strong ads put together. And by strong, I mean, a great image to accompany it, strong verbiage that really outlines your messaging and what you want to convey, and put, $20 a week or $20 a day or whatever you feel comfortable with behind that with Facebook and on Instagram. The only thing that I that your target audience, $20 to reach 1 million people across reach 100,000 people across Oxford County. Your money goes much further when you are really kind of honing in on that target audience, instead of, doing more quantity for.
Perfect. It broke up just a little bit there at the end, Alyssa, but I don't know if that's my internet or internet. But hopefully it doesn't jiggle on. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, it's just a bit choppy, but I think I got that, which was really great. And I'll look back at the when we go to edit it to make sure how it all looked. But I mean, I think it's quite clear that there's lots of options online, and you can pay. But I really love that organic piece. Students are going to learn that nomination period opens from May 1st until August 19th. And as soon as you submit, put your name in the hat, you can actively start campaigning. And that could very well be through the summer, because we have a provincial election coming as well. You could just be building your audience organically, and getting in those habits, whether it's daily or through the week. All these tools that you've helped my small business with and suggested, I think I really like that organic approach of just start small, and hopefully by October, election night, you have shares all over your community and people just tagging that they voted for you and all of those great things, right?
Absolutely. It's definitely something that is along as a and the idea of posting every single day can be daunting. So there are tools available, even free tools. Buffer are both really great platforms that allow for you to actually schedule out your content in advance. So that's something that can be really helpful for people, and it's an hour or two to schedule out that, or even the month ahead if you really want to do it that way and not have to about it. And that way it kind of having to constantly be coming up with content on the go, opposed to social.
Perfect. Well, Alyssa, I'm just taking note at the time, and we could sit on here for much longer, and maybe we'll have part 2 with Alyssa, at the end of March, or we are hoping for in-person networking. So we hope you'll be able to join us. And what's the best option for someone to contact you, just to ask you more questions if you're up for it, or what's the best way to reach you?
Absolutely. So I can be found at the social on all social platforms. The social.ca website is want to email me at thesocialfactory.ca is the best email to reach me at.
Okay, perfect. Oh, I think we broke up again there. Are you there? Yeah.
I'm here.
It's the way of the times. I don't know if oh, we might have. Okay. Well, Alyssa, I will sign off, and I want to thank you again for your time. And it's always so great to connect with you and all of the wonderful work you do. And thank you so much for just sharing some pieces of great tips and tricks for social media. And I hope we can have you on again in the near future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much and we will chat soon.
All righty.